Aya! Welcome! So this is kind of like part 3 of a little mini-series that I've been doing where I've been basically filling in gaps in my New Order vinyl collection. Mostly singles. Part 1 last month, I showed a load of 7-inch singles that I'd got, all original releases. I did explain at the time why there were certain singles, 12-inch singles, that I wasn't looking at. In fact, I wasn't really looking at any 12-inch singles at that point. However, part 2, I did get, I think, a couple of 12 inches, but also I got some other New Order and related stuff. There was a Joy Division album on vinyl. There was kind of a soundtrack to 24 Hour Party People, the Factory Records movie. There was the Salvation soundtrack on vinyl, which I'd not owned on any format in quite some years. So this part is basically as what it says on the tin. I'm going to show you a load of 12-inch singles that I've bought from 3 different sites. I wanted to get the 7 inches first as they were cheaper generally, with certain exceptions, and then take a look at what 12-inch singles I really wanted to get and which ones I didn't mind leaving for now. The reason I've decided to ignore certain 12-inch singles, particularly from the Brotherhood and Technique eras of New Order, is, as I've explained in the previous videos, I do expect those singles to be re-released on 180 gram 12-inch vinyl at some point, fingers crossed, when New Order released the definitive edition box sets for Brotherhood and Technique. But there's plenty of stuff that I still needed, that I still wanted. Some of this, I didn't think I was going to be able to get it particularly very easy because the prices at some point seemed quite high, but then I got lucky with certain sellers, mainly eBay and Discogs. Let's just get stuck in. There's actually 3 different mailers to open at the end, and I've got 2 mailers here that are already opened, and we'll just go through it. First one to show you, I'm just covering up the seller's address on the back there, is a purchase of 2 12-inch singles on eBay. As you can see, I opened this some time ago. These are from the same seller. The next mailer to show you, I've just bunged a load of separate sales in there just to kind of tidy up a bit and chuck some of this excess cardboard out, or recycle it, of course. These aren't in any order, and I don't even know if the next batch are in order of when I purchased them, to be honest. Probably not. First one is the 12-inch for True Faith 94, in fairly good condition, I would say. You will have seen me got the 7-inch of this not too long ago. That was in part 1, I think. I'm saying part 1, I didn't actually make this part 1, part 2, part 3, but I'm treating it like a bit of a mini-series anyway. This, I think, replicates the tracks on the CD single, which I've also had for many years. It's got the True Faith 94 Perfecto mix, the Sexy Disco Dub, TWA Grim Up North mix, and the 94 remix. Quick look at the vinyl. As you can see, the sleeve is in pretty good condition, not mint by any stretch, but I'm happy enough. As for prices for all of these, I really can't remember. I think this and the next one from this eBay seller, he did actually discount me some postage. I remember that because he was charging something like £6.50 postage, but then that was for each record. And obviously he did intend to merge postage, combine postage costs. But I paid the full amount, which ended up being something stupid like £13 postage, and then he did refund me something like £6.50 or £7 of that. So I was happy with that. Thank you to the seller for that. True Faith 94. Oh, it's got its old HMV price sticker on the back as well. That shows its age. $3.99 it originally cost. Next one is one of my personal favourite New Order singles. I know I'm in a bit of a minority there, as it's not everyone's favourite. It certainly isn't Peter Hook's favourite New Order song, but it's World the Price of Love from the Republic album of 1993. This was a top 20 hit. There again, I think the track listing here more or less is the same as the CD single, although it actually came out on 2 CDs, but this is probably replicating CD 1. Maybe I'll do a video one day where I'll just go through all my New Order CD singles. I am, I think, up to date on those and have been since always, really. Let me know in the comments if you'd like to see that. This is in slightly better condition, actually. I'd say this is very good plus condition myself. I'm no expert on grading, by the way, so if you completely disagree with anything that I say regarding condition, then I understand. I'm just kind of eyeballing it really and making a snap judgment. But there is World. Perfecto mix, similar to True Faith, is track 1. Track 2, Sexy Disco Dub, which I think is also Perfecto. Track 3 is Brothers in Rhythm mix, and track 4, World in Action mix, which is probably Brothers in Rhythm again. It will say on the sleeve, but I'm not going to spend too long kind of drilling down into the technical and specific details here. But yeah, very happy that I've got that. So what this is basically doubling up really on stuff that I've got on CD. You'll see, as you have with True Faith 94, some stuff that I've recently got on 7-inch now being replicated, but the 12-inch versions. Right then, so this next lot, and I've lost count on how many's in here exactly. I can probably do a little bit of a count up now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 singles all in here. But this first one, I'll show this kind of sort of separate to the rest, because this was from a website that I'd never used before. It was a Discogs seller that I found, but as I've mentioned before, sometimes you'll get a link on their profile to their website, and then if you go on their website, it'll be a proper retail store, and you'll be able to buy the thing you saw on Discogs for possibly a little bit cheaper. This single, the price was the same on the site, but if you bought via the site rather than through Discogs, it was a little bit cheaper postage wise. This is from Recycle Vinyl. This came really quick as well. A great online store, to be fair, and also their Discogs page I think has pretty much everything that's on the site anyway. For dance music and dance 12 inches particularly, it looks excellent. Their happy hardcore section, for one, there was a lot of stuff tempting me. I mean, happy hardcore is one of my favourite genres of music. Not the most fashionable in this day and age, but I don't care. And there was a lot of 12 inches from certain hardcore artists that I like that was really tempting me. I thought, no, I'm just sticking to New Order this time. But I may go back and do some more shopping at Recycle and add to my dance 12-inch collection. Anyway, the single that I bought from them was Jetstream from 2005, and the Waiting for the Siren's Call album. Notorious Jetstream has been mine and a lot of people's least favourite New Order single. To be fair, the remixes on here, and I think I've heard them all because I've got the CD singles once again. I think the remixes are pretty good. The radio edit, well, maybe that's probably the worst of the bunch. But track 1, side 1 is the Jacques Leconte remix. Track 2 is the radio edit, and then track 3, or track 1 on side B, is the Richard X remix, if memory serves, I quite like, even though Jetstream is a pretty piss poor New Order single. And track 2 on side B is the Tom Neville remix. Gives you all your credits there. I do like that it's got the little hype there that says featuring Animatronic. Of course, Animatronic was the female singer, or is the female singer, I'm assuming they're still going in some form, of Scissor Sisters. As have most of these, I think. It's come in an inner. There we go. Not an awful lot to look at. I'm showing you the vinyl and the centre labels here, but very little of that's particularly interesting to look at. The sleeves are the interesting things, really. And as with the 7-inch singles, really, that I was getting in the last 2 New Order videos, these are more just kind of collection fillers, collection pieces, really. I don't need any of this again, because I've got it all predominantly on CD and others on vinyl already. Okay, so the next bunch, I think these next 3, or is it 4? No, next 3 were from one Discogs seller. To be fair to the seller, he did say for a couple of these that the sleeves were split down the spine, but the prices were reasonable from what I remember. I don't think as a bundle of 3 this was massively expensive, maybe between £30 and £40 including postage. And I think this is the one that was in the best condition, certainly when it came from this seller, and it is 1963. Originally the B-side for True Faith. in 1987. Probably New Order's Oasis moment where people listened to it and they thought, oh, why is that a B-side? It's good enough to be a single in its own right. And yes, some years later they tended to agree, and they released it as a single. It was basically the second single after True Faith 94 for the Best of New Order compilation. Doesn't come with an inner, but it is in one of these anti-static bags, which is good. The track listing is the Joe T. Vannelli Dubby Mix, the Joe T. Vannelli Light Mix, Lion Rock Full Throttle Mix, and Lion Rock MG Sunday Morning Mix. And I'm doing really well to read all this without my glasses on, to be fair. Although with the 12-inch sleeves, it's obviously going to be a little bit easier for the short-sighted amongst us. There again, got the CD single. It came out as a 2 CD set back in the day. 1963. So the next two from this seller, the condition of the sleeves has seen better days, but they're fine, you know, they weren't expensive. Here's Regret. So I got this on 7-inch in the first New Order specific video from last month, and I wanted to get the 12-inch as well, basically. From Republic, the lead single off that album. This one features the Fire Island mix, the Junior Dub mix, Saber's Slow and Low, and Saber's Fast and Throb. Ooh, yeah, you can see there the spine is split. I mean, I could kind of get some Pritt stick and mend that to an extent, but I'm not going to worry too much about it. Quick look at the centre label and the vinyl there. As long as the record plays well and the sleeve isn't absolutely battered and tatty beyond belief, which this isn't, then I'm happy enough. So there's Regret. And then the final one from this seller, there again with a split spine, is Blue Monday 95. So this, I think, came out on 2 12-inches in 95. This was the single released to promote the Rest of New Order remix album of that year. The other 12-inch single, which is a similar design, but it's more sort of all blues and whites, really. That seems quite expensive. That's not something that I've picked up in this particular bundle of items. Whether I'll get it one day, I'll keep my eye open. I'm not too worried about it, as I've got all the tracks on CD anyway. I've got the CD single for this, and I think all the remixes, or maybe more than what's on the 12-inch, the other 12-inch, are on a bonus CD for the Rest of New Order album. So I know I've heard all the mixes. Very similar label to 1963. And the tracks on here are the Hard Floor mix, which is basically like the main one that people heard when this was reissued. Andrea mix, Manuela mix, and the last track is the original mix, so presumably the original 12-inch version. I say presumably because with New Order you're never quite sure, because they have had a tendency to mislabel and misname things before. Pleased with those from that seller. The next two were the only international purchase I made from a Discogs seller in Holland. A little bit of tax to pay, as there always is now from European sellers on Discogs, but it wasn't too much because the total price wasn't too much, just over £30 including postage and taxes. And I wanted to get them from this seller as he had two that I needed, and one of them in particular seemed quite expensive everywhere else, but he was selling it pretty cheap. So I thought I better jump on that before someone else gets it. So the first one from this Dutch seller is another Crystal 12-inch, and this one is predominantly, if I can read it, the Digweed and Muir mixes. It's got a little bit of a hype on there, but it's very faint. Sleeves in nice condition though, very happy with that. The tracks on it and the text is so small and faint, but it's the Bedrock mix from Digweed and Muir, and then side B is the Bedrock dub. So yeah, the Bedrock mixes I think is the kind of subtitle for this one. So Crystal came out as 3 12-inch singles in 2001. It's the lead single from the Get Ready album. You saw me buy in part 2, that would have been the previous New Order video, the Lee Coombs mixes from, I can't remember if that was eBay or Discogs, but I got it last time. If you've not seen that, it's going to be near the top of my music unboxings and Misc VC playlist. So the Bedrock or Digweed and Muir crystal mixers, and then the other one that seemed to be quite expensive everywhere else, even on eBay. I did look. I did do my shopping around, my window shopping for all of these beforehand. So I like to think generally I've got the best prices for all these. Is the third and final crystal 12-inch that I needed, and this one with the green stripe on it, and there again it has got a little bit of a pipe sticker there, is the John Creamer and Stefan K mixers. So side A is the Creamer and Stefan K, can't read that at all. I'm going to put my glasses on. Seems really faint. This sleeve is in probably slightly worse condition. Creamer and Stefan K intro remix, and side 2 is the John Creamer and Stefan K main remix. So yeah, there we go. The sleeve's fine. Oh, we've got a little sticker there. You can find me at Strictly Dance, Best in Dance Music. So even though this was imported from Holland, this little sticker here kind of proves that it was sold in the UK at some point in its lifetime. Right, put my glasses away, and I feel I'll probably need them again soon enough. But yeah, very quick look at the vinyl again, or the centre label. Yeah, that's all I'm going to show you, I think, because it's all getting very samey, isn't it? But yeah, very happy to have got that. So all 3 crystal 12-inch singles now added to the collection, thanks to that seller in Holland selling me 2 of them. Last one in this open mailer is Ruined in a Day. This came, I think, only came yesterday, this. I've got the CD singles. There again, it came out as a 2 CD set. I have them both. The mixes on here are the Bogle mix, the live mix, World the Price of Dub, so that's another mix of World, which I showed you the 12-inch for that earlier, one of my favourites, and Reunited in a Day remix, which I believe is by K-Klass. Yes, it is, and is a really good mix. One of Peter Hook's favourite mixes as well, according to his, at least one of his autobiographies. He might have mentioned it in 2 of them, the Hacienda one and the New Order one. There we go. This was a little bit pricey, I think about £25. This seller, to be fair, he said what good condition he was in. I mean, he was calling it near mint, and he's not far off, to be fair. Alright, yeah, it's a bit creased there, but it's a 30+ year old single, this. It came out in 1993. The condition is nice. I'm happy to have got it for not exactly a fortune. Ruined in a Day. Alright then, the rest that we've got is just 3 more to go, but they're all in separate mailers. Fortunately, I remembered my knife, and hopefully I won't struggle and end up knocking stuff over, as I'm often worried about doing when I'm doing unboxings and mail openings down here in my corner. All these still Discogs sellers. The majority of this stuff is from Discogs, with the exception of the first 3 singles that I showed you today. Cool, this is really stuck on well, this. Beginning to wish I'd just opened all of these off camera before I started, to be honest. Not that it makes a difference to the video, because I just edit out anything where I'm struggling in silence opening something for ages. So it doesn't make any difference to the length and to what you're seeing particularly, but I think we're in. So I don't know which one this will be. I know what I've bought, obviously, but not sure which item is from which seller. Oh, okay. So this one, and he's separated it out. Oops, something just fell down there that looked like a little note or flyer. Bear with me. This was from a seller called Furry Records. Buy, sell, trade, vinyl and CDs. Remember to leave positive feedback and check out blah blah blah. That's their Discogs link there. So if you like what you see here, go and check out Furry Records. And this one is a 12-inch of Arthur Baker versus New Order Confusion 02 remixes. So this was sort of like a, not unofficial, but not particularly in the New Order canon, but it's a New Order single. Technically I wanted it. It came out in 2002, and basically it does what it says on the tin. It is remixes of their collaboration with Arthur Baker from back in '83, Confusion. This one has on side A the Coma and Bones vocal version, which I think is probably the most familiar to people, out of all the different mixers that are available in this O2 period. And side B, 2 tracks here, the Larry T's Electro Clash mix and the Acapella and Parts. So it's basically letting you create your own confusion, really, your own mix of it, as it provides the acapella as well, which is rather fun if you're a DJ, I'm sure. Right, there is the vinyl with its centre label. What label is this on? Whacked Records, that's it. I do have the CD single for this, had it for many years, as is the case with pretty much all my New Order CD singles. Obviously, once again, just to make sure this video doesn't go on all day long, I'm not particularly inspecting the vinyl. I've been giving these second-hand New Order records that I've been getting a clean and a good dust and what have you before listening to them. And we'll do the same, obviously, for all these. You know what, I'm not going to worry about that because I'm just sat here fiddling with it. So I'll put that back in properly later off camera. Right, next one, penultimate one. Hopefully this is an easier mailer to open, because I really felt I was taking too long with the other one. Right then, oh, okay, so quite appropriate that I've opened this one next. He says, as there's a load of cardboard toppling off my sofa, it is this again. It's Confusion, Arthur Baker versus New Order. But as you, I'm sure, have spotted, it is slightly different from this one. This one has got a nice blue tint to it, because it's basically a second 12-inch in the series. Now, the condition of this, yeah, it's got a split spine. I don't remember if the seller mentioned that actually. Probably did. And from what I remember, this was pretty cheap, like the other one. So, not quite that cheap, sadly. That's an old sticker. This was obviously in some bargain bin somewhere in its lifetime for just 49 pence. So I think someone has made a profit on this from when they bought it. This one doesn't have a inner sleeve, but I can sort that out myself and give it one. The tracks on this 12-inch from Whacked Records: Side A, Output's new Rocktro version. Side 2, Arthur Baker's 2002 version. And the one track on Side B is the Astro Dazed mix. So yeah, plenty of mixes of Confusion across two 12-inches, and I think most, if not all of those, do feature on the CD single as well. The seller has at least provided an outer protector, but it doesn't look a particularly nice one, so I'll probably dispose of it. Finally is this single here. I can remember what I've bought here. It's the prices I'm struggling to remember for all these, really. There again, really well taped, which I shouldn't complain about. I'm just a bit annoyed at myself that I didn't open all these before I started filming, really. There we go. Looks like it's protected with extra sheets of cardboard in here. And the single itself has also been separated, the inner and the disc from the outer sleeve. Another one who's sent it in a protective outer as well. Not massively good quality, but I may reuse it. Doesn't matter if I don't, because I've got plenty of my own. And this one is Crafty. So the lead single from the Waiting for the Sirens Call album in 2005. A little look at the back, which is never particularly very interesting for New Order singles of this era. But the tracks on here: the single edit, the Glimmers 12-inch extended mix, and on side B, the Phones Reality remix and the Glimmers dub version. Once again, I've got the CD singles, and I'm likely to have all those tracks on those as well. So nothing really exclusive here today, to the best of my knowledge. I could be wrong. My New Order collection is so extensive, it is hard to keep track of exactly what I've got and what I've got more than once. To me, the centre label's looking a little bit speckled, and I don't think it's deliberate, so I'm wondering if that's a bit of water damage, possibly. Probably not showing up particularly well on camera. It should be fine. There's perhaps, a couple of minor marks on this disc. I don't really want to inspect it here and now. The price of this, I think, was relatively reasonable, around the £10 mark, maybe a bit more with postage. But it's just basically with these, how many is there? About 12 singles I've shown you today. It's basically just beefed my New Order collection up. So that was the final one today, the 12-inch of Crafty. I won't do a recap because I've spent ages on this video as it is, and you've seen everything if you've stuck with me, and I thank you for that. So I want to give special thanks not only to everyone for watching, but to my wonderful subscribers and generous patrons. Will there be another New Order specific video? Probably not. There is actually a couple of New Order related things that you'll be seeing in the next Records Roundup. I did briefly contemplate saving those for this video, but with these specific New Order videos, that's been stuff I've been getting almost on a whim as collection fillers, whereas the two items that you'll see in the next Records Roundup, well, one is barely New Order related as it is, and the other one was a pre-order, and anything that I've pre-ordered and I've been waiting for a while, I'll tend to always show in a Records Roundup. But there we go. I'm going to go now, and I do hope that all of you will join me again next time, whenever that might be, for my next New Order related record collecting video and any general music and record collecting video that I may make, such as the next Records Roundup, of course. Hope to see you for it and for all the others. Cheers, everyone. See ya!